Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian. Welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. We give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So this is the show that was absolutely unplanned. I don't even know how I came across this. Right, I do know how I came across this topic. Right, I do. So basically, I was just searching for a quick story here, and I came across a story from fadeawayworld.net, and it's had the following headline. It says, Mike Miller claims LeBron James LeBron James was gaining weight during playoff games. He doesn't sweat. It's not real. He is not real. He continues on. LeBron James has built a career of defying logic, but a recent story from his former teammate, Mike Miller, adds another layer to that reputation. Speaking on Barstool Sports podcast, Miller described a moment during the time the Miami Heat that still sounds unreal. So what we want to do is I want to play this video from Mike Miller here. I want you guys to take a listen to it, and then we'll come back and continue on with the what he had to say.
The story is that LeBron would gain weight during games. He'd weigh in before and then afterwards.
Yeah,
which
I'll tell you a
sounds
crazy story. We did weight body fat in Miami. This is game, God, I want to say it's 6, at home against Indiana in the playoffs. So he does his weight body fat. And he weighed in that day before the game at like 267 maybe. He goes and plays. That's an overtime game, I'm almost positive, and he has ridiculous numbers. And he don't use a towel, man. Like when you watch him on the bench, he's got like these little wipes. He like don't sweat, doesn't do anything. Plays, I think 40, like almost 50 minutes because it's an overtime game. He weighed like 6 pounds heavier.
That's crazy.
After the game, and that's why he's a test tube baby. He's not real.
that isn't real.
Good. So you heard what he had to say. Now I want to read the description. It says, one of the more bizarre conspiracy theories floating around NBA circles involves LeBron James and the claim that he somehow gains weight during the course of a game. The theory stems from an observation by fans and amateur analysts who noticed that LeBron appears noticeably larger, more bloated or heavier in the second half of games compared to the first, leading some to speculate that he was consuming some kind of weight-gaining substance at halftime to bulk up and become harder to move in the post. Some versions of this conspiracy pointed to his halftime snacks or drinks, with people claiming he was downing protein shakes, calorie foods, or even some kind of experimental supplement that caused temporary water retention or muscle swelling. Others took it further, suggesting that it was a deliberate physical strategy that by adding even a few pounds mid-game, he could create more of a movable force in the paint and on drives, making defenders bounce off of him much easier in crunch time. Of course, this is physiologically implausible in any meaningful way. The human body simply doesn't gain functional weight that quickly, and any calories consumed at halftime would be burned off almost immediately given the intensity of an NBA game. The more likely explanation, as sports scientists have pointed out, is a combination of factors. LeBron's body naturally swells up as his muscles engorge with blood as the game progresses. What the hell? What? That even makes sense to you? But anyway, let's continue. His jersey may stretch or fit differently as he sweats. And camera angles at different points in a broadcast can dramatically alter how his frame appears. But the internet being the internet, the conspiracy took on a life of its own, spawning Reddit threads, YouTube breakdowns, and Twitter debates, and treated grainy halftime footage as a smoking gun evidence of some weight gain manipulation plot, which honestly say, and then it goes on to say a few other things. So before we go into that, okay, I think it's important that we bring up something here, which is there's a respectable NBA reporter. You've seen him on TV a number of times, and he has pointed out something that we did a show about. And Rick Bucher said this, and we're going to play the sound for you, that everyone in the NBA community, this is what Rick Bucher said, this is not what I said, knows that LeBron is using something. Not my comments. That's what Rick Bucher himself said. So what we want to do is we're going to play Rick Bucher's comments that he had on his podcast not too long ago, of actually from last June, and then we'll come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Rick Bucher's comments here.
He can be disciplined in developing his skills and his shooting and all of that. But his out may be, but I want to eat and drink what I want. If he cared enough about what he ate and drank to treat his body like a temple, I would think he would have been doing it a long time ago, because he's already felt the repercussions of not doing so. And if he looked at LeBron and thought, man, he holds the secret, he could have pursued that a long time ago. He didn't need to be a teammate to have that realization if he was going to have it. It's one of the more annoying aspects, I'd say, of the idolatry of LeBron, that he is credited by some as being this sensei that has the answer to all things basketball, and that everybody is going to him for the answers. Now, we know for a fact that guys did that with Kobe. I don't know of anybody who has said, yes, I sought out LeBron to find out his secrets. I certainly, look, I appreciate LeBron for what he's done. I just don't make the assumption that everyone wants to be him. And there's also the nagging question about exactly how he's maintained such extraordinary fitness at such a ripe age. Now, whether there's any basis for the speculation, and I think you all know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to voice it because I don't have the means of backing it up. But we all know what the speculation is out there. And I can assure you there's plenty of it privately by players and personnel in the league. Like, I've always thought, maybe it could be. And I've had players and coaches say things to me like they take it for granted. They assume it's true. It always catches me a little off guard. They're just like, oh yeah, that's going on. And look, and it could be jealousy. It could be just wild speculation or gossip, being presented as fact but it's there. And even regardless, it takes a great deal of dedication and discipline to do what LeBron has done with his conditioning all these years, even if he's getting some sort of boost.
So you heard what Rick Bucher had to say. I actually did a little bit of research, and I asked the following question. I said, can steroids cause weight gain? And the person and the thing said yes. I don't know some of these words. Corticosteroids steroids or whatever, such as prednisone, you guys know them, cause weight gain, especially with higher doses and longer treatment durations. Weight gain occurs during an increase due to increased appetite, fluid retention, and fat redistribution to the face, back, and neck and abdomen. Key things: steroids often stimulate intense hunger, causing increased calorie intake, fluid retention. And then it went on to say a few other things there. Look, we don't have any definitive proof, but we do know that this is something that has been said by a lot of NBA players. You know a guy named Jeff Teague? Do you remember that? What about Shaq? What about Kevin Garnett? This is something that people have openly joked about. Then you have insiders in the NBA saying, like Rick Bucher that we just played the sound for you, saying that it's a known fact that that's what's happening here. We have the instance when Dan Lebron tried to bring it up on his show, and he was attacked by all of the rest of his panelists. How dare you ask a question like this? He's like, this doesn't make any sense. Physically, this doesn't make any sense. Then you look at the fact, for instance, when Paul George did that 360 windmill and then he was immediately drug tested. LeBron is dunking up and down the court. Have you heard him being tested for anything? No. So you look at that and you look at the fact that he's 40 years old and he's moving in a way that no other player at his age has been able to move. And of course, people that have a brain cell will be like, well, how is this possible? Even people like Tracy McGrady has said, I hope whatever he's doing it the right way. He's not cheating the game or something like that. So this isn't something that we started. This is just a story we're reacting to, and they posted about it. But there are a lot of people that have questions about this. And that didn't stop people from speculating about Barry Bonds and all of that other stuff. But I guess LeBron is off target. We get why he's off target. He's a moneymaker, cash machine for the NBA, Nike and all of that. So I get it. But it doesn't mean that people are not asking this question. And it doesn't mean that you're a conspiracy theorist if you're asking this. If you see your 70-year-old granddad just doing things that a 70-year-old shouldn't do, you should ask some questions, right? And a lot of NBA players have worked pretty hard to keep their careers in tip-top shape. And to tell me the answer is sleep, come on, man, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow there. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave them in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.